Welcome to another episode of the MB Inspired series, where we take a look at the lives of successful personalities of Generation Now. My guest today is someone who learned the ropes at her father's firm before starting out her own luxury electronics company called Vu Technologies. Let's go meet Devita Saraf as she talks about work, play, and style. At the young age of 24, Devita started Vu Technologies, a company that aims at bringing luxury and technology to the Indian consumers. Combining opulence and innovation, Vu Technologies are finding their way into homes around the country. Well, Devita, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, before we talk about your work, which we will, we're going to delve into, or at least take the liberties of delving into your personal life for a bit.
Sure.
It's a beautiful home. Thank you
very much.
Did you grow up here?
I did grow up in South Bombay, yes. Not in this house, but I did grow up here.
And any sort of memorable moments in your adolescent years you'd like to tell me about?
A lot of them. I think I've been blessed with a very nice, wonderful family and a great childhood. And since I'm the younger one, I think I was always the more mischievous one. I was always the one who was allowed to try my own thing and do my own thing. And I think that's just really shaped me up as a person and made me someone more entrepreneurial from the time I grew up. So it was just a fantastic setting that I grew up in.
Did you always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Was there like a defining moment when you were growing up?
Actually, I always knew that I wanted to be in business. I think from the time I was very small that my mother used to take my brother and I, my older brother and I, to my father's press conferences and product launches and office openings. And from that young age, I always knew that I wanted to join the business eventually. Somewhere along the line, I felt that there was something I would like to start off on my own.
Okay.
And that came when I was 24 and I started Vu. But I think my studies in the US and growing up, I didn't even focus that much on my studies when I was in India, because I knew that I would grow up and sell computers, so why should I study chemistry?
So Devita, what's a typical conversation we might overhear at a family dinner with you guys?
It's an interesting conversation. I mean, obviously I'm the one who talks the most.
You do?
I do. But you know, even when I was growing up, it used to be my father and grandfather who used to talk business on the dinner table. And they would make it seem so much fun. You know, it didn't make it seem like work is work. It was like work was their passion. It was a lot of fun. The discussion used to be anywhere from, politics to technology to trends in the world, etc. And that was really an inspiration for my brother and I growing up, which is what I felt that this is the conversation I want to have when I become a businesswoman. Of course, my dad made it look very easy, because when I entered work, I realized it's very tough and it's very hard to come home in a good mood every day.
Now, I also heard that you're an Odissi dancer.
Yes, I love dancing.
Do you have time to even fit that into your schedule these days? Or?
Why not? I mean, why not? I have actually dance class on Sunday mornings.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And we have shows twice a year. It's really fun.
So you're still performing?
It is part of a group, but I really enjoy it because, I've always been a dancer. It's one of my favorite hobbies. When I was growing up, I was in every possible kind of dance I'd learned. And then a few years ago, I said, I want to do something that is really about Indian culture. Because everyone around me is learning salsa or bachata or stuff, Latin dances. And so I really started to learn and look at classical Indian dances. And I chose Odissi because it's the most difficult, it's the most oldest, but it's also the most graceful and feminine. And so I found a teacher and I joined the class, and it's a lot of fun. And because you're concentrating so much on every step and hand movement, eye movement, your leg movement, that for that 1 hour when I'm dancing and I cannot think of work or anything else, and you just come out feeling completely mentally and physically refreshed. So it's a great hobby, and I feel happy that I want to promote Indian culture as I learn more.
Do you have time for other hobbies as well, or is that you draw the line at that?
No, I think I'm a creative person. So what happens for me is I do need that time off to do the things that keep me fresh in my mind, that will then reflect on my work. Because a large part of building a brand is good design. Whether it's the product, it's advertising, it's the store, it's anything, is good design. And a lot of that sense of aesthetic and design comes from my own passion for art, architecture, jewelry. For example, all the jewelry that I've worn on the show, I've designed myself.
Oh, you have?
I do.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's really beautiful.
So when I come home from work, I will sketch, I will, make my own art, make my own jewelry.
Good.
And that's really me time, which reflects well on my work. So I think your hobby does translate well into your job.
And you're a writer too. I believe you got a column in the Wall Street Journal.
I do. Actually, I write monthly for the Wall Street Journal. So it's an op-ed column, which is online. It's a blog. And it's very interesting because I really get a chance to give my opinion on different subjects, whether it's the economy, the recession, education, workforce, etc. And I realized that being a journalist is really tough. You know, I used to think that what is this? No, journalism, they have stories on tap, they just write it out. And here I'd be sitting on like a blank Word document saying, what do I write? And just call up my editor and I used to be like, I have no idea, what do I write? I'm just completely blanked out. So I think the web is a fantastic medium for people like me who want to reach out and need a vehicle to speak out to our audience, but we can't do it in a formal way as a journalist. And sort of writing for the Wall Street Journal online has been a fantastic experience.
And any dreams of maybe writing the good old-fashioned Indian novel?
I know, in fact, it was just the other week my cousin was telling me, you know, Didi, of all these ideas that you share with me of how young women can succeed and how they can really, you know, enhance their lives. Why don't you write a book about it? And I said, that's a good idea. So I thought about it, but I don't really know. It's a good thought.
You're like, there's time for that.
I don't know. I think it'll just come to me one day. Everything that I do, I just jump into it and then figure out how I'm going to do it. I'm not someone who plans and analyzes too much.
Yeah.
It's just one day.
It never works.
Exactly.
Okay, great. We're going to come back right after the break and talk to Devita about how she unwinds after work. See you in a bit. Welcome back to the MB Inspired series, and we're going to now try and take a walk on the wild side in my chat with Devita Saraf. So Devita, Saturday night must be a big night for you. A week of work, then comes Saturday. What's a typical night out for you?
Well, you know, when I started business, I made a pact with myself that no matter how tired I am, or even if I'm traveling, I will go out on a Saturday night.
Okay.
Because it's important to keep yourself young and fresh, and also because I have a lot of friends. So it's not just time for myself, it's time for my friends. I don't think I've ever broken that pact. But you know, my favorite thing is whatever is latest and new. So my favorite thing on a Saturday is to, whether it's a new store, whether it's a new restaurant, new club, whatever is the latest, I love trying out new things. And I think, you know, when I'm traveling and Saturday nights, I'll make sure that, you know, it's with Facebook, it's easy to just say, hey, I'm in so-and-so city, who's here, and then meet up and then go party and see what's the latest place.
And fitting in time for health and fitness, I think is...
Yes, although that comes the latest part of my evening. You know, I go to the gym at 9:30 at night, like a dead person running.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say that's like the last of my priorities.
No, I wish. No, I think it's very important. I realized this when I started working is, as a CEO, your life will only get more hectic. But you have to keep good health. And, you know, you will only be a good CEO if you're a healthy person. You know, it'll reflect in your work, it'll reflect in your temperament. And it's very important to me, no matter how exhausted I am, to put in that few hours of exercise.
And you love to travel.
I do.
That's something I know about you.
Yes.
What's your sort of most prized destination in that sense?
The last count, I had been to about 148 cities or something. But what I do is whenever I travel for work, I find the nearest nicest place and take a weekend off. So I'd gone to Germany for a business trip, which is not a very fun place.
No. I was going to say, is that the one? Really?
And so I went to Slovenia. Okay. And I went to this place called Bled, which was beautiful place, like a small European village. You know, it's not commercialized, not like there's a McDonald's in the middle of the mountain. It's this lake, small lake, and there's a tiny island, maybe the size of this room, in the middle of it all, in the middle of the lake, which has a 1,000-year-old church in it. And really simple, really sweet. You know, we were looking around at where can we eat, and someone was making pizzas at the back of the house and selling that. So Slovenia is just a beautiful location. I also love Japan because I learned Ikebana, which is the Japanese art of flower arrangement. Wow. So I went up to my Ikebana school, which is Ohara School of Ikebana, which was in Ginza in Tokyo. That was a beautiful trip. I've traveled, I think, every major state in India. So that has also been, there's so much to discover in India. That's a lot of fun.
So if a friend came here from somewhere else in the world and asked you one destination in India that she should go to, what would you recommend?
I would definitely say Ladakh is fantastic.
Ladakh,
And I remember when I was going there with my friends, it was my birthday. And I told my mother that it's in Himachal Pradesh, not in Kashmir, because then she would not let me go. But it was fantastic because for some reason people always think I'm either from the northeast or one of those more hilly regions. And a lot of these places, they start talking to me in the local language. But Ladakh, my friends and I went to Khardongla, which is the world's highest motorable road. And so on my birthday, we went on top of this mountain, I think 16,000 feet above sea level, or I don't know, some very high, can't count that kind of number. And they got me a candle and a cake on top of the mountain. It was so windy that we couldn't light the candle. That was a beautiful place. I'm in fact planning to do one of the tiger corridors sometime the next few weeks.
But I do hear that every city you go to, you get a new haircut.
Yes.
Is that right?
I do actually. That's actually been one of my hobbies, you know, that's just always try new hairstyles.
Have you ever come back with something you hugely regretted?
I don't know if I regretted it, but my family was certainly shocked. I've got haircuts done in Tokyo, in Taiwan, Germany, Paris, New York, LA, Dubai, everywhere. And when I went to Paris, I said, let me just Google the best Paris and best salon in Paris. And so they mentioned some very far out place. And I went, Rue Bonaparte, or some fancy place. And I went there, the guy that gave me a cool haircut, something very Parisian, etc. And he kept nodding, and I thought maybe he understands English. So I said, great. So I sat down and I picked up this magazine, which was French, which I didn't even understand. And then he cut my hair this short. Suddenly I'm like, that's beautiful hair.
Like a mushroom cut.
Like a mushroom.
Oh, lovely.
Literally like a mushroom. And I came back, and it was like a boy cut. And my family's like, what happened? I'm like, isn't it stylish, Mom? But not so much. I think Japan was the best. The guy took 2.5 hours and he slowly cut each hair, but it was fantastic. It's a good souvenir, you know?
Okay,
like,
so
what did you get from Germany? Oh, I got a haircut.
Now you seem to be quite into fashion, designing. You were telling me about your jewelry, which is fantastic. Are you planning to expand into that area as well?
You know, I've done a diploma in jewelry design when I was younger.
Okay.
And I've always been very passionate about design. I think all Marwadis also are very passionate about jewelry, and that just comes for me inherited. And so I started to design my own pieces growing up because I felt I wanted something that goes with the Western wardrobe. I often need to wear good jewelry at a product launch, but also stuff that transcends to an Indian wardrobe. And so I started to make my own pieces, and then I would always get appreciating comments. Oh, that's a beautiful ring. Oh, we love the earrings. And I'd say, oh, I designed it. And a lot of people have asked me that, why don't you start your own jewelry range? So between all the technology businesses that I'm running across the world, I'm sure I will someday. And I like to make it innovative. For example, this here is a brooch, but it's also got a hook that makes it into a pendant. Okay. So when I go for an Indian wedding, I have different colored beads to match a sari or lehenga. And then I would just put that on the side or at the bottom. And then for a business event, I just wear it as a brooch. And sometimes I worn it in my hair. And I love to do these kind of statement pieces.
Great.
So I'm hoping that I will do something more commercial with it someday.
Okay, we're going to be right back after this short break. Welcome back to the MB Inspired series. We're here at the Vu Technology showroom where Devita is just about to gift me a new television. Her largest one at that.
Absolutely, to choose from. You have the 55-inch, which is the largest consumer television we have. Okay. And then we have the industrial 63-inch, so whichever you want.
I will go for, I love this, and I know my son will love that. It's the, what do you call it?
It's a touch screen, actually. Touch screen. Yes, absolutely.
So it's a whiteboard, basically.
It's a whiteboard, exactly.
That becomes a television and a computer
PC,
screen.
Exactly.
Brilliant. So, okay, speaking of televisions, I have to ask you, your family business is computers. So why televisions? It's sort of going back in time, you would think.
You would think, yes, but actually there's been a lot of innovation in the television space with LCD technology and then subsequently with LEDs. So when I started out at Vu, the idea was to bring a high-end consumer brand in the electronic space, and we started out with a high-end PC. And then the market for televisions in India really grew. From 3 lakh TVs a year, which was back then in 2006, to nearly 50 lakh TVs a year now in 2012. So it's a fantastic segment, and Vu has been able to ride the wave.
And your brother also works with you guys, 3 CEOs in one family. It's a bit heady, but you both have come up with something called Vu Telepresence.
Absolutely,
Tell me a bit about
absolutely.
that.
So my older brother Akash, he has India's largest software product company in the US, Zenith Infotech, which makes products in cloud computing, managed services, etc. And then we co-founded a company called Vu Telepresence, which is a video conferencing telepresence product, which is this one.
Okay.
And there are only 4 companies in the world that make it. There's Polycom, there's Cisco, there's Lifesize, and there's us. In fact, we're the only Asian company with this product. We spent $11 million in 2 years to come up with our own virtual facets technology that allows this kind of compression. So you can have video conferencing in your office comfortably with your office bandwidth, and instead of phoning someone, you can just view them. It's a very smooth experience. I use it every evening to talk to my team, which is in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And I have my team either logging on from any part of the world, and we just, it feels like we're right there.
Good. Now, the other innovation that really sort of struck me, out of the many that you have with your televisions, is the waterproof TVs.
Yes, I know.
Waterproof TVs, what is that about?
Absolutely. So, some people just cannot stay away from the televisions, right? And when you're in the bathroom, what do? You have an important morning show going on. You want to see CNBC's latest, stock prices. So we have a product which is a waterproof television. It's a 17-inch screen that we install on the wall, and you can actually take a shower head and put it on top and change the channels without getting a shock.
So condensation problems?
Nothing. It's got a fog-free mirror on it.
So what do you foresee coming up with next? I mean, what is the next big thing in luxury television retail?
A lot of products, actually. So 3D was the new big thing the past few years, and we have a 55-inch 3D television. And we found that a lot of people, while they're buying 3D televisions and 3D PCs or 3D laptops, etc., there isn't much content, especially in India. So one product which I will launch right now on CNBC, which no one even knows about outside of the office.
Here you go, guys.
Is a 3D camera.
Oh, wow.
So we're coming up with the camera, and the lens basically just swivels, and it becomes from a regular normal camera handycam to 3D camera. So you take a picture in 3D, and then you hook it up to 3D television. And so if you take your child's picture, it's not just his photo, you'll feel like he's actually coming towards you.
Okay, and that's without wearing the eyeglasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what about the luxury space in India in general? Where do you think that's heading?
The desire for luxury has actually really spread in India across different status levels and across geographies. And this driving is being brought by young people who've either traveled abroad or aspire to have that foreign life in India. And so for us at Vu Technologies, when we were the first ones, and we still are the first ones in the country to have this kind of retail and stores, the idea was, if you could go to a Gucci and buy a handbag, or go to Mercedes and buy a fancy car, where do you go to buy fancy electronics?
Right.
And that is when, we put the best designers, the best stores, the best malls, and really created this experience.
And with so many established brands in televisions, from the other ones which I won't mention, how do you find the Indian market has taken to Vu?
Surprisingly, when I started the brand, everyone had the same question. First, why are you building yet another TV brand? First of all, I would like to mention that we are specifically in the business of luxury and affordable luxury products. We have affordable luxury products through dealers, through stores like Chroma, where you can buy all of these regular televisions. And then we're the only brand who has stores like these, flagship stores, where you can buy a super TV where the PC is inbuilt.
The one I'm getting, right?
The one that you're getting.
Okay.
Or the waterproof, the touchscreen, the video walls, there's a lot of products that you have. So our focus on that high-end segment, we really are only directly competing with Sonys and Samsungs and not any other brand. And it's just been so interesting for us. I think if I'd launched this 10-15 years ago, the acceptability would not be there. But television buying is not just a man's domain now. The wife has something to do.
And the kids.
The kids are the biggest consumers. They just come to my store and pick up whatever gadget they like and start playing with it. And we have specifically reached that segment. And we've been able to build a cult following amongst the youth crowd.
Great. So how many more stores in India expected by 2015?
A lot more. We're actually now opening flagship stores in every state. So we finished with Gujarat, we did Goa, Rajasthan, some of them in the south. But the way we run our business is we don't just have a me-too strategy that my competition has put up a store and we'll put up next to it. What we did is we came to, say, a luxury mall and came right next to the high-end brands, so that when the women are buying handbags, the men come buy TVs.
You've studied us well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's more about the quantity and the quality and the experience that we give, rather than making the brand a bit too mass.
Okay, Devita, I now have a need for speed, so we're going to move to the MB speed test, where you are required to answer these questions at the speed of light. Are you ready?
Yes.
Dream job.
Mine, current CEO, owner of the world.
On the bucket list.
Total world domination.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl.
One brand you always wear or carry?
But probably my watch, Omega, or my own diamonds. Devita Saraf design.
And your favorite food?
Thai and Mughlai, Indian, yes.
Okay. And the first thing you reach for in the morning, and be creative with this one.
My mom. Please let me sleep 5 minutes
That
more.
is so sweet. Thank you very much for being on the show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. It's fantastic.
And all the best with this.
Absolutely.
And which one do I take home?
The big one, the biggest, whatever you want. It's all yours. Thank you.
So that was Devita Saraf for you, CEO of Vu Technologies, avid traveler, and possibly the author of the next great Indian novel. I better check if my TV got loaded in. Catch me next time with another guest on the MB Inspired series.